Hello, everyone. I want you to think about the last time you had to deal with something financially. Maybe it was you checking your bank account balance, opening a bill, having a conversation that you've been putting off. I want you to notice what happened to your body just now, even just thinking about it. That tightness in your chest, maybe, that sudden urge to think about literally anything else. That's not a character flaw. That's your nervous system doing exactly what it was built to do. And today I have something very special for you. I am excited to share that we have a guest on this show, and she is going to tell you exactly why and what to do about that tightness in your chest or that sudden urge to think about literally anything else. Welcome to Quiet Minds, Rich Lives. This is where we talk about two things that shape almost every part of our lives and almost never gets talked about in the same room. That is mental wellness and money. I'm your host, Michael, and I believe you can't fix your finances without understanding your mind. You can't take care of your mind while your finances are in chaos. And on this show, we talk about both. Today, I'm genuinely excited about this conversation. My guest today is Nicole Hope Sylvester. She is an author of Stress Fluency Educator and a woman behind the book Calm is Power. Nicole's work sits at this fascinating intersection. I believe she translates the nervous system science into practical tools that help people think more clearly, communicate better, and yes, even make better decisions under pressure. Nicole, welcome to Quiet Minds, Rich Lives. How are you doing today?
I am very excited is how I am today. I'm doing great. I'm really
That's
excited
awesome.
to talk about this. I feel like financial stress is an enormous topic that no one can avoid at some point in life, one way or the other. So being able to discuss this and share some knowledge with your listeners is a big deal. And I want to say thank you for the work that you're doing for others too, because this podcast is incredibly important and you're making it happen.
Thank you so much for those kind words, Nicole. I truly appreciate it. So, Nicole, your work is called Stress Fluency. That's not a phrase most people have heard before. What does it actually mean to be fluent in stress in your own words?
Stress fluency. Well, yes, you're right. I made it up because no one talks about stress. Well, everybody talks about it. Nobody does anything about it or really understands what it really means. So I
That's
decided to
very
make up
true.
my own word, and that is stress fluency because to me, stress is just data that's happening in the body that the body is trying to give to us information. And the fluency piece of it is us understanding what it actually means and what we need to do in regards to it. Super basic. It's just stress, understanding stress signals in the body.
Okay. So, with the stress signals that you describe as, that's very different. That's a very different frame than stress is bad. Where did that reframe come from you?
That reframe came from years of, again, my clients, even myself, saying I'm stressed. And then noticing things happening inside me, and then again continuing on day to day, pushing through it and all of that. And essentially ignoring these signals, which is just sensations and even emotions that we're feeling inside ourselves. And so, if our job in these bodies is to experience life, which is the entire point of having a human body with senses, then my logic and my research kind of led me to the fact that all of these sensations and reactions to life must be information that our body's trying to communicate to us. And if we listen through the with the right lens, with the right perspective, we actually can utilize, I sometimes refer to, you can use stress as actually a strategy because you can utilize it to benefit you in a myriad of different ways. And you definitely, we all need to really understand what it means for each one of us individually, what it actually means, and then have some sort of a relationship with our body, which is, again, so if stress is the
Okay.
data and the language, then the relationship or the communication is coming from our body to our mind and from our mind onto our body. So if we understand that interplay, I can almost guarantee you that life gets at least somewhat easier, if not extraordinarily easier, because then we can move throughout life with a lot more flow and ease and understanding. And ultimately, my logic, if you will, is that if every one of us understood our bodies better, and the mind body connection, we would
Hmm.
really eliminate a lot of problems like across the world. I kind of go, oh, it's our path to world peace. If we're being totally honest, if everybody knew how to take care of themselves properly and eat and with love and self connection, we probably would be a lot happier world.
I strongly believe that myself. Especially because I think I told you a little bit about myself before we started recording, and like my 20s was chaos, and I lived in that ball of stress. And I like that you use the word relationship behind it, and I see it more as like a relationship with yourself, if anything, and like
Mhm,
trying to put some trust in yourself that you can get through this one thing, and you look back and be like, that was a piece of cake.
mhm. It
You
is.
know what I mean?
It's a trust game for real, and I would offer that that's a beautiful way to put it, and my way of explaining chronic stress, right? We all are gonna have stress. Stress is an intentional mechanism inside our body to make us take action to keep our bodies alive. That's the purpose of it. And the
That's very true.
dilemma is at this day and age is that we are exposed to it for a million different reasons, again and again and again and again. And since we are not trained to know how to have it dissipate or resolve, it just keeps building up. And from that trust perspective, the body's like, well, I don't trust you anymore. And now you have
Right.
potentially chronic pain and, higher chances of lower immune system. Activated bodies
That's very
do
true.
a lot of nasty things and a lot of things that we might second guess afterwards and be like, "Oh my gosh, that just happened." So it's definitely a
That is
road
very true.
we'd like to stay off of. And in speaking in that road terminology, I kind of say stress is that rumble strip on the side of the highway, right? So you're on the highway and
Mhm.
you're cruising and whatever, and that then you kind of roll to the side and it's wildly uncomfortable to experience the rumble strip. And it's the same point of stress. Stress is uncomfortable because it's like, hey, you're off your path. Hey, something's off. You
That's
need to
true.
take action to get back on your path again. So same concept.
And that kind of leads me into like change, because change can be stressful. And change is
Mhm.
you going off your beaten path onto something possibly better. Hopefully not worse, but possibly better. So I can
Yes.
see how those two might correlate with each other as well.
Yes. Well, I think it's how long you're on the rumble strip for. I would offer
That's true.
aligned change that is really good for you will be a blip on the rumble strip because the body loves prediction and certainty. So it might freak out for a couple moments, but you'll land back on the road again if it's the best thing
Hmm.
for you. And if it isn't, that's
That's true.
great data too. The longer you're on the rumble strip, it's kind of like, if you keep going too far that way, you're going to run into the ditch or something, right? So that's why
Hmm.
talk about stress, I think it's A, personal, but B, really basic. We all have the same systems. How much we're experiencing will be different, but we have to understand the underlying mechanism, if you will, in the body. And then we start having that relationship with ourselves. So we know how much time we can be in a rumble strip area, if you will.
I like that analogy you used. I find that beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I want to know more about your book too. Calm is power. What was the core idea you wanted people to walk away with when you wrote this book?
I'm going to pause and make sure that I articulate this well.
That's okay.
Well, pauses are beautiful for creating more calm, which allows your brain to kick on better. So, calm is power
Yes.
because the more activated our body is, meaning either the more stressed it is, or over burnt out, or overwhelmed, the less able we are to deal with a situation for our highest good. It's just
Hmm.
true because stress taps on to a bunch of, again, these kind of systems running in the background, and it will have us take action that may not actually be in our favor because it's action from fear. So stress is a very primal thing. versus as we get older and learn more about our lives, we can have this wiser approach, a more aligned approach to reacting or taking action or responding in our lives. And the
Mhm.
stress is kind of the determining factor. Again, there's the strategizing of it. Sometimes I can use it to help me do well in a game or something, but outside of sports or sometimes big things, a calm body actually has the best ability to think through things and use the brain the best, and actually helps the body be the most energized, if it's had downtime to be able to take action in our lives. So really the calmest person in the room holds the most power. I use the example of Mission Impossible movies with Tom Cruise, and there are
Yes,
all
I
those
remember
scenes,
hearing you
right?
about saying this once.
Yeah, right, right. Everybody's in there, and you've got like 5 different bad guys or good, it doesn't matter whether they're good or bad, people who have
Oof.
weapons, and everybody's staring at each other, and their weapons are pointed at each other, and they're like, it's go time, and Tom Cruise is staying in the middle and seems the calmest for the most part because he's trained in how to be calm in those situations. And he's like, whoa,
Mhm.
whoa, whoa, like everybody take a breath. Let's before we just start going bonkers and everybody ends up dead. Like he actually has the most power in that room because he's not hyper reacting to things. He's actually strategizing, which is why Tom Cruise in those movies always seems to win in those movies because he's not in those situations. He's not just reacting crazily without thought. He's actually strategizing what the best way is to react or respond to that circumstance. And that goes for negotiating in business. I mean, it stems into
Mhm.
anything, whether how we're treating our children, how we're making financial decisions. Calm lets us not
Right.
just go bonkers and freak out and use all of our post limiting beliefs about making a choice. It actually, calm allows us to think strategically. Well, stress makes you go bonkers, and calm allows you to think strategically and utilize knowledge that you may not have access to if your body's in a stress state.
That's very true. It allows you to be more proactive from what I was gathering from the scenarios that you were using.
Mhm.
As well as you're able to interpret that data that your brain's collecting into analyzing it into what the outcome could be in different scenarios.
Yes,
I
it
like
gives you
that.
choice. So as
Yes.
opposed to just I mean, how many times have we done something and like 2 minutes later or 5 minutes later, a week later, like, "What? Like, what
What
did
was
I
I
why did I
thinking?
do that? Yeah, what was I thinking?" And
Right.
if you're stressed, you weren't thinking, and there's a bunch of science behind it, but ultimately your body is just
Mhm.
dropping into like lizard brain mode of like, I need to get out of this situation, so I'm just gonna do a thing and let's go. And you're not able to think. It actually cuts off the thinking part of the brain. So stress
Right.
actually limits our capacity to think things through for our highest good.
I like that. I like that a lot. So we're gonna get into what stress and money. Well, we're gonna get to why stress and money have a strong connection with each other.
Mm,
So money is one of the top stressors for most people. From a nervous system science perspective, what's actually happening in the body when someone looks at their bank account and feels dread?
yes. So I'm gonna back us up for a minute and I'll get to the dread. But I want us to think
Okay.
about if stress is the primal response to life, primal responses, Maslow's hierarchy of needs are how do I get my basic needs met, right? Food, water,
Right.
safety, shelter, all of that. So if we look at a very primal piece of us, the nervous system, which is really just saying death or no death, right? Death or life
Hmm.
decisions,
Yeah.
right? So
Fight or
then
flight.
yes, exactly. So if those are the parameters that our body really the nervous system stress body is really addressing, then it makes sense that we associate money with all of that. Money is the thing that gives us access to shelter and food and water, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So at the baseline of our reactions to life and our necessities, our primal needs in the world that we've created, money is like the baseline thing because it
It
it means
is.
safety. And our body just always is trying to get to the safest situation. So that would be why finances are the biggest thing, because we go right into that threat mode of, can I stay alive? Even if that's not the most
Mhm.
practical concept, it is the primal body response and that's why it's so challenging, even not impossible by any means, but more challenging
Mhm.
to overcome.
Right. I like that. So I believe you've spoken about three drivers of human behavior. I believe this was in your book, as that being body, emotions, and beliefs. When it comes to money, which of those three tends to be the biggest saboteur? I pronounced that word wrong.
No, you're good. Um, so let's do it this way. So whoever's listening or watching,
Yes.
imagine a pyramid, and at the base, right? We have a food pyramid, so it's an easy way for us to see this. But if you imagine the pyramid, and at the base of the pyramid is your nervous system, and the next level up is your belief system. Most of your beliefs are
Hmm.
hidden out of your conscious awareness right now. A lot of they're just back in there. so
Right.
so everything that comes into your life has to go through these first two filters, right? My nervous system trying to assess whether something is life or death and what to do about it. And the next filter it's determining which beliefs get turned on. And it's really a combination of those two when it comes to this dread. One, because as we already established, we associate money with the capacity to live, period, because it's access to safety and living. So the next one will be these beliefs, and our beliefs, a majority of them, if you imagine like almost like a skeleton running up the back of this pyramid, our beliefs are mostly ones that we adopted from the people who surrounded us when we were younger. And I could
Gotcha.
get into all the science of it, but it wouldn't just, you'll have to take my word for it because the science would take us a while and we don't have all day. You can look all this up though, I promise. But when we're
That's
younger,
fair.
we are kind of designed in our youth as mammals to just take in as much information. That's why everybody says 0 to 7. How much information can our brain take in and hold as truth in our youth to keep us alive? Because you're learning how to be a person. And you have to
Hmm.
just essentially just be a lockbox of data that you're taking in from your parents and your family and school or your friends, wherever you are. And so
Right.
in the 0 to 7 time, it's almost like you're coding that spine with truths, whether they're true or not for real life. But that's
Hmm.
how our bodies are designed, and or our subconscious, if you will. And it makes sense. It's an intelligent mechanism because we need to know what the rules are. What are the rules for being a person? Oh, money's hard to get. Oh, money is struggle. Oh, we can't have that because we don't have enough money. Oh, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And every time we hear that when we're really young, it becomes a truth for us because our body's like, oh, this is how the world works. This is what I need to understand and believe so that I know how to make choices as I get older. And now you get into an older part of your life. And whenever you feel this dread or this stress around money, those primal, right, youngly adopted core beliefs those are the filters that run through. And then that's all you can see. So it's a tough, tough thing. You can't even see the way the brain works. You can't even see really opportunities beyond that. It won't let you because the brain's
Right.
like, no, we know how the world works. It looks like this. And since our brains and bodies take in so much data at any given moment, I'm going to be so wrong about this, even though it's in my book. 40 million pieces of data in every moment, and our brain can process about 40 pieces, maybe it's 7 million pieces of data, and our brain processes 40 pieces of that 7 million. So it's very intentional about what it's going to do, and it's going to run it through old understandings of life because that's, the most efficient way to take in information. So I'm stressed. I run through an old belief money is hard and impossible to get. And now my brain won't even look for opportunities to get me out of that situation. It'll just go, it's going to hold that storyline.
And even if people, if they do have money, like they make a good amount of money, they have low cost of living, all this stuff. I can see that being a part of them not investing their money and they're the and inflation eat at them. So I can see that happening with some of
Yes.
my clients that I've spoken
Yes.
to and stuff like that.
Yes. Because it's
That's
still,
nice.
if I believe money is hard or money is like I can lose it easy or it's dangerous, whatever I, again,
Mhm.
kind of adopted as an early belief in my life. And it doesn't, when we're kids, we're not assessing whether the accuracy of it. We're just like, oh, that's what they say. And so, okay, that goes into my little
Right.
knowledge bank in the background. So much so that even if things are going well for us, we will intentionally ruin it to hold a
Mhm.
status of what we believe to be true. We're fabulously powerful individuals if we understand what's happening in the background, because then you get to get curious about why you do what you do, and then you have choice again. So calm really is
Yes.
power because it's giving you back that choice. It's giving you the curiosity and the capacity to make other choices.
I love being curious. I absolutely if there's one thing that when I grow older is one thing I don't wanna lose is my mind because I'm an information sponge and I'm just curious about every little thing that crosses my interest. I wanna know more about it.
Yes,
So that's
lovely.
very true.
Yes,
So
yeah. I go, calm is power and curiosity is control. Because the second I'm curious about anything or about why I'm doing what I'm doing, I take back my own control in my own life,
you are
right?
in control. That's very true. I never thought about that before.
Mhm.
That's very true. So I love this. So there's a lot of advice in the personal finance world that essentially make just make a budget and stick to it and be logical with it. But I find doing it that way, it rarely works in the long term. What would be missing from that advice that you could think of? If you need me to rephrase that again, I can.
I'm just, pick a plan and stick with it. I would offer that life is dynamic, and therein lies the rub with anything that we learned when we were 6 or 7 years old. More
Okay.
than ever in this time period, we are experiencing the most variety. I mean, dynamic is the best word. Nothing is the same as it was when, you know, I'm going to be 50 soon. There's nothing that's the same as 50 years
Mhm.
ago or 40 years ago for me or 20 for that matter.
In this day and
So,
age, it could be 10 years.
yeah,
Not even
exactly.
5 years now, 7 years
Right.
because of, the
Yeah, I mean,
pandemic.
so wild. So the key in this is recognizing that that calm allows you to have flow and coming back to that curiosity. So thinking that there's only one right approach is again this very primal stress approach because it's based on it's you're running a fear pattern, right? If I do anything outside of
Mhm.
this one approach, then I'm in trouble. So anything that we do that's got an underlying fear is already taking us off of what's in our highest good. And that means financially
Right.
and relationships and work, etc. So, curiosity, maybe even a little concern, right? We talked about that little bit of pushing through uncertainty. Uncertainty is one thing, but fear, and this is where understanding our physical body's reaction and getting curious about it, which one's driving our decisions. So the more
Right.
fearful we are, the harder it will be for us to expand. And that includes in our finances. So we have to be that curiosity space, that calm space with curiosity allows us to investigate, to innovate, and to even create more for us and entertain even other options. And that's where the calm versus stress piece kind of fits in that dynamic of like pick a plan, do this, whatever, because it doesn't allow for there to be fluidity in life, and life is incredibly fluid.
It's all about the ebb and flows.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yes. So, I've been thinking here as well, You mentioned about chronic pain earlier.
Mm,
Um, I can see this with like chronic financial stress, like carrying debt for years,
hmm
and that affecting someone's capacity to make good decisions.
hmm
Would you think there's like a compounding effect to that whole process?
of just continuing to live. Well, that's an interesting thing. I would offer that this will make sense. I'm trying to always find the most dissolved way to be able to explain this so it's the easiest way to digest. If
Right.
we recognize there's two ways, I mean, there's obviously a myriad of ways for us to be, but if we took the extremes of calm versus stress, which again is a fear activation state. So we go fear versus chill. And
Hmm.
we say fear by nature of the nervous system and how it reacts, it actually just shuts itself down. It's a way of like what do you do? What does your body kind of naturally want to do when it's afraid? It kind of wants to curl up in a tiny ball, right? So it's restrictive.
Right. Hmm.
Whereas calm or cool, being chill about things is expansive. It's a
It
natural way
loosens
for
it.
our body to want to be open to change. And again, that openness and that curiousness. So,
Hmm.
stress then will build on itself. That is why people who are stressed and then are afraid become more stressed and more afraid until they can't even function because it will build on itself. So that is applicable to financial worry. And it's a sticky business. You're trying to convince your body that this uncertainty is healthy, that it will pan out. And again, in regards to money, as one of the most, you know, across the board agreed spaces that is like my aliveness is dependent on some form of income, right? So it makes
Yes.
sense that that would happen. The end.
I like that. I like that. So, with your philosophy with it being calm is power, I want to apply that directly to probably like one, maybe two things.
Sure.
Like, how does creating calm before making a financial decision? Well, one thing. Let me rephrase that again. How does creating calm before making a financial decision actually change the outcome? I believe this might have been answered in the previous questions, but just in case, probably elaborate on it more, if anything.
So I will elaborate. Yes. Calm gives us, I'm trying to think of a more scientific way to do it. Calm gives
Okay.
you the power to think better. There, that's it. I used to teach first grade, so I like to really
Simple,
get it to the basic level. Calm equals better thinking. We are all capable of
simple and
making
beautiful.
good choices. We are. We are capable of thinking into even predicting or assuming all of these things about what would be best for us. And more importantly, intuitive gut feelings about it, which
Hmm.
however you want to see that, we are intuitive beings because our body is constantly trying to talk to us. So that gut instinct is turned off in stress. It's actually, or it's not necessarily even working properly because it depends on the beliefs. So calm allows us to make the best choices, to turn on the biggest parts of our brains, to be able to see the highest level of opportunities, and to be able to predict the highest level of success.
Yeah. I like how you use the word choices in there because you mentioned earlier about being calm, I think opens up curiosity, which kind of gives you more choices that you can derive information off of the data you received and
Mhm.
analyzing it. So I think in your book you mentioned nature as a regulator. Can you walk us through like a practical real world example of using that before, like let's say a tough money conversation with a partner or a big spending decision?
Yes. So actually my next book that hopefully comes out in the next year is going to be called Nature Remedy because our bodies are designed evolutionarily to be in nature.
Sure.
So just a little something to consider. So I invite you on this little journey. If our bodies were literally evolutionarily designed to be in nature, they were designed to walk all day, about 20,000 steps a day, right? We're shooting for like
Hmm.
6,000, but our bodies were made to walk about 20,000 steps a day, to be in community, to move. A lot of that tribal and hunter-gatherer behavior included singing, humming, dancing, all of
Hmm.
this. And all of those actions actually naturally regulated the nervous system. Naturally.
It's like a
On
cat
top,
purring.
yeah. So, I mean, we're built like that. We're built so beautiful. We're built like zebras. We are zebras. Zebras get stressed, they run it off, right? The lion chases them. They go run it off, shake it off. Now they're just back to eating grass. They're not holding on to chronic stress because they're that's so we're zebras, and every time we get stressed out, we go sit in front of a television.
Mhm.
Right? So we're just holding,
That's
if we're
very
not
true.
we're not regulating, right? Or getting on our phones or whatever. We're not doing the things, the very physiological, biological things that need to be addressed through what would naturally happen. And so that's why there's so much chronic stress and a million other reasons. But so if you come back to the body was made to be in nature, it's also meant to look at nature. Nature's, to me, an extraordinarily magical place, but for most people, it's kind of boring. But that's also
Mhm.
very valuable. Boring is safe. Boring is a
Boring is
brain.
good.
Boring is good. Boring is good for the brain to get a break. Executive processor in the brain, 3 days will work. If it's in nature for 3 days, it will come back and work better. You'll be smarter. No joke. I told this to my child the other day. And I was like, you got a math test? We're going to nature. So it
Field
it
trip.
matters, right? The patterns in the
Right.
leaves and in bushes. Think about a bush and the way it expands. Looks exactly like our lungs, right? We
Hmm.
are literally nature. So it would make sense then by proxy that we would do better, feel better, let the body relax and feel comfortable in, ease down, calm down in nature, barring there's no bears or rattlesnakes. So that's the key. So yes, making, if you've got my first choice, even when I used to work with more clients one-on-one, I took them, we did our sessions in nature, because guess what? Your body is immediately healing itself. And
Hmm.
for you're going to be more open. All of those nervous system things downregulate naturally without effort because you're in nature. Now add on, the practice of being in nature and being fully present, which is what the body really wants. So I'm not just out
Yes.
chatting with my buddy, which is wonderful, but still not the full effect. Be fully present in nature, those mindfulness techniques, right? Look at 5 things, touch 4 things, listen for 3 things, smell 2 things, and taste the air or something, right? That
Yeah.
practice alone downregulates the nervous system. Nervous system calmer, brain kicks back on, better decision making. It's just, we're really basic. We're zebras trying to live in a technologically advanced world.
It's like if you're having an anxiety attack going on, like a panic attack. One of the biggest tools to help mitigate that is to close your eyes and focus on your breathing. Slow inhales and exhales. Just so
Mhm,
take your concentration off that stress signal and
mhm,
just listen to your body. And that just
mhm.
helps relax you too, as it does for me.
It does. It's an interesting space, and this comes down to the uniqueness of all of us. And I would
Mhm.
offer at one point about what drove me into this business to begin with is, I don't know, at this juncture, 15 years ago, I was so massively stressed and overwhelmed that I literally, and I mean this intentionally, made myself sick, gave myself rashes. I couldn't swallow all the things because my body was shutting down and tensing up. And it was from stress and anxiety, etc., which are all nervous system healed. So that's how I landed here. And the reason that I bring this up is because I used to teach yoga even then, and fitness and all the things. So I was very movement oriented and still couldn't
Mhm.
seem to mitigate the stress issue. And meditation wasn't even working. And breath work wasn't even working. And here's a fun fact. So I offer this in pairing with the breath work. If you try doing the
Okay.
breath work and close your eyes and the breathing, you're just like, nope, totally normal. Then stand up and shake your body or jump up and down or do some jumping jacks. And the reason why I say this is that in a panic situation, your body's like, there's a bear. So what does your body do? It dumps a bunch of chemicals, all the things that you want it to do into your body. That's like, get out of here. And all of those chemicals, right? Norepinephrine, adrenaline,
Uh-huh.
cortisol are like, let's go. And then, depending on the
You're tripping
person,
it.
they sit down. So the bear's chasing me, boo, 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 boo. The bear's chasing me. I'm like, hold, like, I'm going to meditate, or this is my problem, right? So, like,
Right.
bear, roll for a second. I'm going to sit here and meditate. And your body, this also happens for people sleeping. Your body's like, you got to be kidding me. Like, no, right? And it's freaking
Right.
out. It's like, why are you working on, like fantasizing about clouds when you need to be getting away from this bear? So
Uh-huh.
so I say this because yes, do breathing. Breathing is fundamental, and you're right. And for those of you who may try that and you're still like, it's not working, it's because you've got a bunch of chemicals that need to literally get burned off through movement. Movement is what makes them go away. That's why if you see an animal freak out, there's a beautiful movie or a video of a polar bear that gets hunted down by people for the sake of science, and it's beautiful. They dart him to put him to sleep, right? So he's
Uh-huh.
racing around. He knows they're going to get him. He gets darted. He falls asleep. They put the tag on, whatever cool things they're doing to learn about polar bears. But when they're done, they go and this magical sleep powder wears off. And then what do you see this polar bear do? It gets up,
Then she shake.
and it doesn't just like, all right, cool, I'm free again, I'll just mosey along. Or it doesn't just sit there and be like, I'm just going to enjoy the fish in the water. It starts shaking. Why? Because it's shaking off, burning up all of those chemicals that it had in the body before it fell asleep. And we are also bears. So we are zebras and we are bears. Polar bears, to be specific. So
Dang.
yeah. So we also have the same chemicals running through us that need to be burned off through movement. Now, I invite you to get curious. If you shake and shake and shake and you move your body and wiggle and jump up and down, whatever you can do to burn that off, you then can utilize that breath work even better. You're like going to double down on your capacity to calm from the panic attack. So just a little bit of information.
I like that. I'd never thought about shaking, like just doing jumping jacks or running in place or just anything with movement when I'm having like a little anxiety attack. And I've always wondered why sometimes the breathing technique just doesn't work sometimes.
Yeah.
If that ever happens again in the future, I would definitely keep that in mind. So thank you for that
Yeah.
little
You're
tidbit
welcome.
of
And same approach, you wake up in the middle of the night and your body's like racing, and your body's just, and you're like, hey, I want to go back to sleep. And then people will lay in bed for like 3 hours and can't go back to sleep because they have financial stress. So your brain's, so, you probably woke up with no thought, but your body's like, something's wrong. And so maybe you wake up and you start thinking about, oh, it must be because I can't pay the bills, or da, 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 whatever, financial or relationship or anything. So but it's mostly because your body woke up and it sensed something. You had a cortisol hit in the middle of the night. And so now you're
Mhm.
trying to lay and make yourself go back to sleep. But guess what? There are those chemicals again that are like, move your body. So I invite people and my clients that works for me. I just get out of bed and shake right there, or I walk around the house in the dark carefully for a little bit, or anything that tells the body to use up those chemicals. And then I would say 9 times out of 10, I just get back in bed and go back to sleep because
It's like a
I
little
try not to
reset.
think about anything. You can't think about anything because that will propel then, right? You're like, oh, but I'm so worried. And now your body dumps in more chemicals and then it comes down.
Mhm.
So the goal is to think about, I'll think like unicorns. I love thinking about unicorns. They're real benign and they're pretty little things with rainbows. So think about unicorns and rainbows as you walk around or shake the body out, then get back in bed and think about unicorns and rainbows. And I can almost guarantee you'll fall back asleep much faster.
I love that. So I want to talk about something else. So, a lot of my listeners, they deal with both mental health challenges and financial stress, most likely at the same time.
Mm.
How do those two things feed each other, and which one would you tackle first in your own experience? It's like which came first, the chicken or the egg sort of thing.
Right? Well, I would offer the thing is, I'm just coming back to that pyramid. It's always going to be the
Yeah,
body. If you're stressed
got
out and you're worried, and both of those things are coming up on your radar, and logically so, that they would impact you with different experiences or whatever, then the goal is to not worry about any of it, and just this is why that calm is power. If I've
it.
got activated around any topic, my best action I can take is, what does my body need? What I need to listen to the body, because it just needs to feel safe first. And then I actually can make the best next choice for myself. Again, we're coming back. It's the same pattern every time. And I'm not saying the body is the thing. You can't, we have the capacity to create what I refer to as like a teamwork between the body and the mind,
Hmm.
right? Where I kind of say, if we do this with intention and learn about ourselves, then the mind kind of becomes like the team captain. So most of the time it's the boss, right? But we're still on the same team. It's when we ignore, which is the majority of what people do these days because they're not taught any of this, which is why I wrote the book, right? It's when we
Yep,
ignore all of the signals and just kind of start throwing like anything at our problem, trying to fix it, but mostly it's just so we feel better. Why do we do anything? So we'll feel better.
exactly. That makes me think of like when I was early in my recovery, about 7 years ago. I think I spoke about this a little bit on the last episode, the episode before the last episode on my podcast. But when you're in recovery, you're not thinking about your finances or tomorrow or whatever the case may be. You're thinking about the now. And the now is, how do I heal? How do I grow? And that is not a linear path for anyone that's in recovery, not in my experience, anyways. It took me about 8 months of just healing from the damages I've caused myself for over a decade, for the most part, of just listening to my body and what it needs and just focusing on that growth aspect of it. Once I was once I had, I guess, more trust in myself, that's when I can venture out into other aspects of my life, whether that be my personal life, my friends or family, or my finances, or my career, or what have you. That all centers down to basically calming the mind, trying to tame it. On the back of my neck, I have a tattoo that says "a quiet mind," which is a whole synopsis of Quiet Mind, Rich Vibes podcast, or Quiet Minds Financial Coaching. My whole life is centered around a quiet mind. Just because of that bipolar aspect of it, it's never quiet. There's always, it's either up or it's down. There's like, I strive for that middle ground, that in between, and I like to stay there because it's just bliss.
Hmm.
So I really love that calm is power that you preach. Not preach is the wrong word, but that you live by and that you express so beautifully into the world. I absolutely love
Thank you.
that. And I
Thank
feel
you.
like this was a perfect thing for this entire podcast, was this whole ordeal.
Oh, good. Yes. And thank you for sharing the story. It's inspirational. And the more that people can hear stories and be able to relate to them and be able to apply it to themselves, because
Mhm.
beyond that calm is power concept, knowledge is power. And knowledge gives us a lot of capacity to have grace for ourselves and to have grace for others. And if we all kind of recognize that we're playing with the same systems in the background, it really explains every single person on this planet's behavior. And I think
That's
that
true.
that's where we start, having a little more empathy and compassion, not necessarily condoning. I'm not condoning things
Of
like,
course.
you know, but it is most importantly, though, it gives us grace and compassion for ourselves. And that is where we heal. So, from a physical body, from a nervous system that, especially, my understanding of mental illness, in whatever's driving it, it is disruptive to the nervous system, and the more that anybody, everyone, every person on this planet benefits from understanding how to get their body to feel safe and calm. Because from that, you do get the calmer mind, calmer, not
Mhm.
saying perfect, right? But it
Right.
gives us the access, again, that control piece, it gives us the access to empowerment in our own lives. Otherwise, we're running on autopilot and the body's just like, you're out, I'm in. And my only job is to do whatever I think I need to do in any given moment, pretty much from the perspective of like a 6-year-old to stay alive. And that's how we work. I would offer that by age 35, most people are living on 90 to 95% autopilot. They don't even pay attention to why they do what they do. And
It's like
it's
when
an
you're driving to and from work, you
it's
don't remember
effort.
how you got to either place.
Yeah.
As scary
So
as that sounds.
yes, that's why that other book, right? This other concept that I have in mind, curiosity is control, is why do you do anything that you do? Why are we on this
Mhm.
podcast talking? Why is the person listening to this? If we don't start, and it's not a judgment concept, it's just curiosity. Just why?
That's
And
true.
is it still aligned for me? That's it. I do this because I brush my teeth in the morning out of habit. Yes, but is that habit still beneficial to me? I'm going to say yes.
Mhm.
So why
I
do
think
I?
any person would say yes to that, I would hope at
Yes.
least.
And honestly, when it comes to the toothbrushing thing, this is why I talk about the nervous system regulation piece. If we come back to evolutionarily, we're designed to self regulate all day by walking all the time and doing all the things, and we don't do that now, then we need to be as intentional about nervous system regulation, calming, as we are about
Mhm.
brushing our teeth. And the tricky piece is we don't wait till we have cavities to start brushing our teeth. We're like, oh,
That's
I got
true.
a cavity. Darn, I better start. No, people told us when we were very, very little, forced us, if you will, to brush our teeth because they don't want to pay for dentist bills. So, but we aren't told anything about the physical body and how to keep it happy and calm and in a great state. And that is partially, mostly why I wrote this book, and it refers to your human operating system. I wrote it like a manual. You get born and here's how your human body works, and off you go. Do whatever you want, but as long as at least you have some information about what's functioning underneath your skin, right? Then that should be beneficial to the future. So it's, there's we're basic, we're complex, but it always starts in the body, because the body can just shut off your capacity to think if it decides it wants to. Crimes of
Yep.
passion.
It sure can. It sure can. So I know we're getting kind of crunched on time here, and I want to be respectful of your time. I'm just gonna have like two more questions for you, maybe one. Depends
Absolutely.
on the length of them. But if calm is power, what would you say the opposite is? Like, what would that cost people?
I've been thinking about this a lot because I think it's a beautiful question. And what is the opposite? I would say the opposite is just fear,
Okay.
because calm is a space where the body feels safe and can make opening and connected steps, if you will. But the fear state is very restrictive and enclosed. So it makes it much harder to live life. So you've got, that would be the opposite. Stress is data, and that's how I want people to see it. Stress is just information. So you've got, on one end, I'm calm and relaxed and at ease, and on the other end, I'm fearful, I'm restricted, I'm afraid, I'm tight and enclosed, right? And in the middle, it's not even in the middle. Stress is just the data telling you one way or the other. You either don't have stress or you do have stress. Oh, that's data, right?
Right.
So there.
Okay. So speaking of stress again, what's one money habit that is actually stressful response in disguise? If you could think of anything.
There's a lot of them. That is a great one. Um, I would offer procrastination. is an interesting one. And
Guilty.
on anything, making any fiscal decision,
Mhm.
procrastination, not not intentional thinking or research or whatever. We're talking about I know what I already need to know and I can't seem to make a choice and I get distracted here, there, and everywhere. That is a it's a behavior, procrastination is a behavior that represents some level of fear. So it's a stress signal. And it's saying that somewhere in the background you have a belief about this particular behavior, like action you need to take that feels scary. So you procrastinate, and procrastination's a sticky little wicket because we're so again in that autopilot state. Procrastination is sometimes hard to address because your subconscious mind will come up with really good, really legit reasons for, let's say you have to pay your water bill. I don't know why I'm picking that, but you have to pay your water bill and it's
Yeah.
really big this month and you're just like, and you may even have plenty of money, but for some reason you just can't pay the bill. That's because, right? So you put it off, you put it off, you put it off, and oh my gosh, now it's a day late or whatever. No big deal with water bills. But the idea is why? Why would you put it off? And that's how you start figuring out what's going on in the background because your
Mhm.
brain will be like, maybe you sit down to write, like you grab the bill, you're like, okay, I'm going to write in. All of a sudden, your brain's all, oh, hey, did you take out the trash? Oh, hey, was that your phone? Did you? Oh, you should look on your phone. I bet there's something really interesting that you needed to learn for your phone right now. Oh, is the car locked? All these things that will seem really legit, but it's really your subconscious mind being afraid to pay the bill because somewhere along the line, you were told that you never have enough money to pay bills, right?
That's very
And
true.
now every time you go to do it, your brain's going to come up with this little stress belief and direct you away from it even though it may not even be an issue. That's why I like to bring up procrastination because it's you got to get this is why you got to always come back. Why am I doing what I'm doing? If I sat
Mhm.
down to pay this bill, why suddenly am I concerned about if my mom, got that letter that grandma sent?
Right. Like I wasn't concerned about it, like 2 minutes ago. Why am I all of a sudden concerned about it now?
Yeah. Oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. Oh, that laundry won't
Right.
fold itself. And you just go, okay.
Right. So I absolutely loved our little conversation we've had past like 45 minutes, maybe an hour, somewhere around there. Absolutely loved it. I want to
Mitch.
know where people can find your book, where they can follow your work and learn more about stress fluency.
Okay, so the best approach for all of this, very creatively, I have a website called Calm is Power. So
Hmm.
World Wide Web, www.calmispower.com. And that's the easiest way to I speak for organizations, I offer workshops and trainings, hopefully, and I have an app that's going to be coming out soon that will
Ooh.
actually offer in real time support for nervous system calming, like calming tools. So you can go, oh,
Okay.
I need to pay my bill. And you put that in and it'll have all my tools in it, but AI will guide you through a calming practice, and so that you can then pay the bill, not procrastinate on it. So it's going to have, a bunch of different tools. There'll be some learning in there too. I'm really excited about it. So calm is power.
That's awesome.
That's the
Okay.
best way to do it. I
Is
am on Facebook, Nicole Hope something. There's a lot of Nicole Hopes out there, my friends. We're really out there to help the world.
gotcha. Hope is a beautiful name.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
that
that's awesome. Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to share? Any final little tidbits?
I would like to share that we are very, very changeable and transformational people. Whatever we think is a habit that we cannot fix, there is always something down below what we are aware of that we can eventually get
Mhm.
to help us change. And if there's anything in our lives that doesn't feel good for us right now, we just have to get curious about why it doesn't feel good and then take action. And that's, I feel like so many people feel stuck right now, wherever they are, whatever it is, doesn't matter the topic, relationship, work, whatever. Life can change. We all can transform. We can all change if we just understand some of the basic elements that are at play, and then we get back our control,
I
our
love it.
power, if you will.
I love it. So, guys, today, if you loved our episode of Quiet Minds, Rich Lives, please leave a review, a like below. You can find this on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and I believe Spotify as well. I do have more guests that I plan on having on the show as well, but this was Nicole Hope Sylvester. I hope you guys learned a lot from today's episode. I truly appreciate everyone who tunes in, listens, gives feedback. Anything to help me out helps you. I love it. Talk to you guys next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.